Good day, grade 12 learners. Welcome to today's English file lesson. My name is Karabo Site, and I am co-presenting with my colleague.
My name is Malibongo Kule, and this lesson is brought to you by the Gauteng Department of Education in collaboration with Saibono Discovery Center.
Our lesson focus today is literature. Cry the Beloved Country, with focus on Book 1, Chapter 8 and Book 3, Chapter 3. Grade 12 learners, what we aim to give you today is for you to understand characterization through Mrs. Mkhize and Mr. Msima. Also, to explore the theme of fear in Johannesburg. Over and above that, to analyze the theme of mercy and reconciliation. Lastly, to develop comprehension and interpretation skills using exam-style questions.
Right. Now, we would like to look at the basic literary terms that you already know with regards to our literature paper, paper 2. Number 1 is the character. How you must understand what characters are and their roles in the story. Number 2, we'll look at the setting, which is the time and place of a story. Number 3, we'll look at tone, recognizing the author or the character's attitude towards the subject. We will also explore what the themes, which are the central ideas or messages in a story. We'll also explore figures of speech, which include your metaphors, similes, personifications, and others. Secondly, we'll look at historical and social context. The first one is apartheid in South Africa, the basic knowledge of the racial segregation and social issues in South Africa during the 1940s. We will also look at urbanization, which includes the movement of people from rural to urban areas. Moving on, we'll look at reading comprehensions, reading comprehension skills, identifying key details, the ability to pick out important information from a text, making inferences, which is drawing conclusions based on evidence that you are given in a text. We'll also look at analyzing text, which includes breaking down a passage to understand its deeper meaning and implications. Number 4, we will look at critical thinking and discussion. Expressing opinions, you need to share your personal views and support them with evidence, and also participate in open-ended discussions and consider different perspectives.
Grade 12 learners, now we want to give you a little bit of a test or an activity. We want to know what you already know. This exercise will take just 2 minutes. Who is Stephen Khumalo and what is his mission in Johannesburg? Is he a lawyer searching for justice? B, is he a priest looking for his son? Or is he a teacher attending a conference? Or is he a policeman investigating a crime? Question number 2, what challenges do people face in the city compared to the village? Peaceful surroundings and strong community ties, access to clean water and fresh food, fear, crime and lack of support, or is it opportunities for farming and livestock? 2 minutes for you to get the answers. Yes, Tebogo, you got to the answer? Okay, Nicole? Of course, the answer for number A is B, a priest looking for his son. Question 2, answer, what challenges do people face in the city compared to the village? Of course, it is C, fear, crime, and lack of support. Now, we are going to take just 1 minute to work out the answers to the following questions. What is characterization? You see the options there? Which of the following is an example of characterization? 1 minute. Right. What did you say the answer is, Nancy? A, the setting of the story. No, characterization is the way a character is developed and portrayed. Cynthia, what do you think the answer is for number 4? Which of the following is an example of characterization? It is B, yes, showing Mrs. Mkiza's fear through her trembling and silence.
Thank you. Now, shall we do a quick recap on our baseline assessment? Hopefully, you were all able to get 4 out of 4 on these questions. Our first question was, who is Stephen Kumalo and what is his mission in Johannesburg? Our answer there was, he is a priest that is looking for his son. Number 2, what challenges do people face in the city compared to the village? Our answer was C. They face fear, crime, and a lack of support. Number 3 was, what is characterization? Said the answer is B. Characterization is the way a character is developed and portrayed. Number 4 is, which of the following is an example of characterization? Our answer there is B. Showing Mrs. Mkiza's fear through trembling and silence. That is where the 4 marks come from. Now, moving on, I want us to look at the terminology that is very crucial, it's very important in the novel that we are doing. You need to understand these terms in order for you to get good marks in question 1, Cry the Beloved Country. The first one is apartheid. This was a policy or a system of segregation or discrimination on grounds of race, which you are all familiar with. It was implemented in South Africa between the year 1948 and to 1994. It involved legal separation of different racial groups and unequal treatment of non-white citizens. Our second term is segregation. What is segregation? Segregation, we're talking about the enforced separation of different racial, ethnic, or social groups within a community, institution, or country. This can occur through laws, policies, or social practices. Our third terminology is reconciliation. Reconciliation means the process of restoring friendly relations and resolving differences between conflicting parties. In a broader sense, it involves what? Addressing past injustices and working towards a mutual understanding and harmony. The next term is redemption. Redemption is the act of being saved from sin or error or evil. In a literary context, it refers to a character's journey towards forgiveness, atonement, or moral improvement. The next term we must look at is protagonist. What is a protagonist in a literary work? This is the main character in a story, a novel, or a play. This is the character around whom the plot revolves. The protagonist is often the hero or the central figure who faces challenges and undergoes personal growth. The opposite of protagonist is the antagonist. This is a character or a force that opposes or challenges the protagonist and that creates conflict in the story. The antagonist, what you must know, it is not always a person. It can be a person or it can be a concept such as societal norms or internal struggles. Now, our next item for discussion is an extract that I would like us to look at.
The umfundisis are on a quest. I have nothing to do with the police. I wish to have nothing to do with them. But there is an old man suffering because he cannot find his son. That is a bad thing, she said. But she spoke as one who must speak so. It's a bad thing, he said. And I cannot leave you until you have told what you would not tell. I have nothing to tell, she said. You have nothing to tell because you are afraid, and you do not tremble because it is cold. And why do I tremble? She asked. That I do not know, but I shall not leave you till I discover it.
And if it is necessary, I shall go to the police after all, because there will be no other place to go. It is hard for a woman who is alone, she said resentfully. It is hard for an old man seeking his son. I am afraid, she said. He is afraid also. Could you not see he is afraid? I could see it, Umfundis. Then tell me, what sort of life did they lead here, these two young men? But she kept silent, with the fear in her eyes and the tears near to them. He could see she would be hard to move.
Now, learners, let's look at lines 1 to 5. I have nothing to do with the police. I wish to have nothing to do with them. But there is an old man suffering because he cannot find his son. That's a bad thing, she said. But she spoke as one speaks who must speak so. It's a bad thing, he said, and I cannot leave you until you have told what you would not tell.
Yes. Now, let us look at what these lines mean. This is what you are supposed to do in the examination or in an examination setting to simplify it for yourself. What do these lines mean? In this moment, Reverend Msimang is speaking to Mrs. Mkhize. He is trying to persuade her or to get her to tell her to share information about the whereabouts of Absalom and Matthew Kumal. Mrs. Mkhize is clearly afraid and she is hesitant to speak, especially because of her past association with Absalom and Matthew Kumal. Now, here, Msimango acknowledges her fear but insists that Kumalo is also suffering. In this moment, Reverend Msimango is speaking to Mrs. Mkhize, as we have said. The tone.
Now let's look at the tone that Mrs. Mkhize used, as well as the tone that Mr. Msimang used. And what is tone, Segule?
Tone refers to the attitude or the emotion expressed by the speaker or narrator in a piece of writing, or it is how something is said or how something sounds like. When someone says, I don't like your tone, it is not what you say, but it is how you say it. And then how do we identify a tone in a literary work? We look at the choice of words, the punctuation, and we also focus on emotional cues. For example, in lines 1 to 5 says, I wish to have nothing to do with them. This suggests fear or anxiety. The tone in this line shows what? Reluctance and fear, that Mrs. Mkhize is fearful and is reluctant. Reverend Msimang, on the other hand, is firm, is empathetic, and he is persuasive.
Would I be correct that he is intimidating?
I think so. There is an element of intimidation to try to get Mrs. Mkhize to share important information that will help lessen the burden on the shoulders of the Umfundis who is looking for his son. The next one is a dialogue. What is a dialogue? We see dialogues between characters in a story. Say this is a conversation between the characters. It reveals character traits, it reveals their emotions and how they relate to each other.
Now I can understand the back and forth between Msimang and Mrs. Mkhize, showing tension as well as emotional conflict.
Yes. The mood. What is the mood? Which we also find in the dialogue between characters. This is the emotional atmosphere that is created for us, the reader, when we engage with the literary work.
Okay, would I be correct that the mood in this extract is tense and somber?
Oh, definitely. There is tension there between Mkhize and Msimango because of this fear and there's also desperation.
Okay, now let's look at a simple exam question.
Refer to the line. That is a bad thing, she said, but she spoke as one speaks who must speak so. Number A, what tone does Mrs. Mkhize use in this line? Number B is, why does she use this tone? Here is a response, a model response that we expect you to give in a question like this.
The tone is Mrs. Mkhize uses a reluctant or a forced tone.
Why? Why? Remember, you can't say she is reluctant because she is reluctant. That is not an explanation. You are supposed to give a reason why she is reluctant, because she is afraid of the consequences of speaking out. Her words, they show that she feels obligated to respond, but her fear prevents her from being honest and open with Reverend Msimang.
I have nothing to tell, she said.
You have nothing to tell because you are afraid, and you do not tremble because it is cold.
And why do I tremble?
She asked. What do these lines mean? If you read them, if you don't understand the first time, you go back and read. Mrs. Mkhize denies knowing anything, but Msimang can see through her fear. Reverend Msimang here can see through her fear. That is why he points out that she is trembling, not because she is feeling cold, but she trembles because she is afraid. So Msimango can see through what? The fear in Mrs. Mkhize's eyes. Now, let us move on to
characterization.
What is characterization? Remember, we spoke about this in our pre-knowledge activity.
Characterization is the way an author develops and reveals a character's personality in a story. It helps readers understand
what kind of person is the character, how do they feel, how do they respond to situations. There are two types of characterizations. First, we have
direct characterization, where the author tells us directly what the character is like.
Secondly, we have indirect characterization. Indirect characterization, this is where the author shows us through the character speech, their actions, their thoughts, appearances, and reactions to others.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. I did not understand what characterization is. Characterization, is it the same as character traits? Or do we find from characterization, we are able to find character traits?
Yeah, from what a character does. You see here, it says the character traits we refer to the qualities, attributes, and characteristics that define a character. These can be through physical traits, descriptions of a character's appearance, their height, their color of hair, or their clothing. Or
I thought, sir, sorry to jump in, I thought it's only about personality traits, but you're speaking of physical traits. And what is all about personality traits?
Personality traits, we're looking at their inner qualities. Are they kind? Are they brave? Are they selfish? Are they compassionate? Or we can also look at behavioral traits. What are behavioral traits?
Yes. Descriptions of how a character acts, such as being punctual or lazy or meticulous. That is in touch with what? With their behavior. Okay, so I understand.
Yes, then we say character traits are the qualities or the features that describe the personality of a character in a story. Here are examples of character traits that you can use in an exam situation. Number one is brave,
fearful,
kind,
angry,
honest,
and defensive.
Yes, then these traits are revealed through what the character says or what they do and how they feel. That's how we know they are character traits. Let's look at an example from the text.
I have nothing to tell, she said.
You have nothing to tell because you are afraid, and you do not tremble because it is cold.
And why do I tremble?
She asked. Now here, let us look at the characterization in this example. In this example, remember we looked at type of characterization, direct and indirect. Now here, the author does not directly say Mrs. Mkhize is afraid. Instead, her words, I have nothing to tell, and her trembling reveal to us, or it shows us that she is afraid. Her defensive question also shows that she is trying to hide something, or she's trying to hide her fear. This is indirect characterization. We learn about her fear and her defensiveness through her behavior and through her speech. Right.
How can you arrive at a response where you are asked about character traits.
To identify character traits using characterization, you are supposed to read the character's words and actions carefully.
What does this behavior tell me about the character's feeling or personality? That's what you must ask.
Look for emotional clues such as trembling, silence, or the tone. Remember, also use what? Evidence.
Evidence
Yes.
from the text to support your answer. That's very critical.
Now, here is a tip on how to identify what the character trait. If you look at the last column on your left, it says, what evidence can you get from a text? Remember, we said use evidence to support your opinion. I have nothing to tell. What does this show us?
It shows that she is avoiding the truth.
And what is the character trait?
The character trait is that she is defensive.
She is defensive. Now look at the evidence. Action. She is trembling. This shows that she is also
emotionally afraid.
Yes. Then the character trait there will be fearful. And
Yes.
why do I tremble?
She is hiding fear.
She is being defensive. That is the character trait. Give the character trait and support it with what? Evidence from the text to get full marks. Let's look at lines 11 to 15.
That I do not know, but I shall not leave you till I discover it. And if it is necessary, I shall go to the police after all, because there will be no other place to go. It is hard for a woman who is alone, she said resentfully. It is hard for an old man seeking his son.
Now, what do these lines mean? Reverend Msimang in this line, he remains determined. He remains resolute that he will find out what Mrs. Mkhize is afraid of, or what is it that she is not revealing. He threatens to go to the police if Mrs. Mkhize does not help. She expresses her vulnerability, and Khumalo responds with what? His own pain, showing mutual suffering.
Of course, Mrs. Mkhize, she's alone and she's a woman. So Mr. Msimang is basically intimidating her.
Mr. Khumalo also has problems of his own. He's looking for a son, and without Mrs. Mkhize's help, he will never find him.
Oh, okay.
Now, let's look at a state of mind and contrast. This device which highlights differences between characters. The contrast here between Mrs. Mkhize's fear and Khumalo's desperation emphasizes their different struggles. Khumalo has his own struggle, and Mrs. Mkhize also has her own.
I guess the mood here is tense and emotional, created by conflict as well as
vulnerability.
Especially Mrs. Mkhize's vulnerability.
Mr. Khumalo's desperation.
Okay.
The desperate old man looking for his son. Question. How does the use of contrast in this extract enhance the emotional impact of the scene? Let's look at our model response. You should compare Mrs. Mkhize's line, it is hard for a woman who is alone, with Mr. Khumalo's,
it is hard for an old man seeking his son.
You see the contrast between the two emotions of the characters here. This contrast shows that both characters, they are suffering, but they suffer in different
ways.
What does it do? It deepens
the emotional tension
and highlights the human cost of
fear and loss.
Right, lines 16 to 20. I am afraid, she said.
He is also afraid also.
Could you not see he is afraid?
I could see it, Mfundisi.
Then tell me, what sort of life did they lead here, these two young men? But she kept silent, with the fear in her eyes and tears near to them. He could see she would be hard to move. What is the explanation here? What do these lines mean? You say Mrs. Mkhize admits her fear, and Mr. Msimango tries to appeal to her empathy by pointing out that Stephen Khumalo is also afraid
and desperate.
Yes, but what does Mrs. Mkhize do?
She remains silent.
What does her silence tell us? She is deeply, she's deeply afraid. It still continues to show the fear, the emotion of fear in Mrs. Mkhize. Now, let us look at imageries. Imageries. What are imageries? We say these are words that create what? Descriptive language that appeal to senses. They help us as the reader create mental pictures, create what it appeals to our sense of sight, what we see and the sounds. Fear in her eyes and tears near to them. This creates a vivid emotional picture. And characterization.
Her silence and tears show she is emotionally overwhelmed and resistant.
Now let's look at a question that can come from this. How does the imagery in this extract help the reader understand Mrs. Mkhize's emotional state? That's the state of mind, her emotional state. How do these imageries help us understand that?
Segule, state of mind. When I think of state of mind, am I correct to say it's what I feel inside, that is the heart, as well as what I think, that will be feeling as well as mind?
Yes. So you think of the two as it has been illustrated. Your heart and your head, a character's emotional state and what they are thinking. Remember, in that particular extract or specific line that you are given, you should focus on the phrase, fear in her eyes and tears near to them. This imagery shows she is deeply afraid and emotionally conflicted. What does it do? How does it help the reader? It will help you visualize her inner turmoil and understand why does she not want to speak to the Reverend Msimang. Now, here is our activity 1. It is a bad thing, he said, and I cannot leave you until you have told what you would not tell. I have nothing to tell, she said. You have nothing to tell because you are afraid, and you do not tremble because it is cold. And why do I tremble? She asked. Right, 1.1.1, you must describe the time and place where this extract is set. If you go back to our pre-knowledge, you will remember this is the setting of the story. Describe the time and the place. 1.1.2, who is the old man in line 2? For 1 mark. 1.1.3, what do lines 5 to 9? It is a dash, it is cold, close inverted commas. Reveal about Msimangu's character. Substantiate your answer for 2 marks.
Grade 12 learners, you are going to spend 3 minutes to work out activity 1, to work out the answers to activity 1. 3 minutes.
Starts now. Good luck. Welcome back. Let us look at our solutions for activity 1.
Describe the time and place where this extract is set.
The answer to this question is the characters are in Mrs. Mkhize's home, where Khumalo and Msimango are searching for Absalom. Remember, book 1, chapter 8, where Reverend Msimango and Khumalo are searching for Absalom.
Who is the old man in line 2?
Here, the old man is Stephen Khumalo, a priest from Docheni who is searching for his son, Absalom. That's the answer. The next question.
What do lines 5 to 9, it is A, reveal about Msimang's character? Substantiate your answer.
These lines show us that Msimango is perceptive and empathetic. She is empathetic. He notices Mrs. Mkhize's fear and gently confronts her. His ability to read emotions, remember, perceptive, and his calm approach reflect his compassionate nature. That's the empathy there. He's being empathetic. Right, next question.
Refer to line 10 and why do I tremble? A, what tone would the woman use in this line?
Our answer to this question is fearful or anxious.
The next question, why would the woman use this tone in this line?
Remember, she is not fearful because she is fearful. You must give a reason for her fear. She is expressing uncertainty and emotional distress, possibly due to the tense situation or a troubling realization. That is why she is afraid. Let us go on to our second activity for the day. Then tell me, what sort of life did they lead here, these two young men? But she kept silent, with the fear in her eyes and tears near to them. He could see she would be hard to move. Our questions are as follows. 1.1.5. To whom do the two young men in line 19 refer? For 2 marks. 1.1.6. Explain what is meant by she would be hard to move in line 21 for 2 marks. 1.1.7. Refer to the novel as a whole. Stephen Khumalo is a brave man. Discuss your view for 3 marks. Let's get to work.
Now you are going to use exactly 2 minutes to work out the answers.
Thank you. Welcome back. Let us look at our solutions to activity 2. The question was, to whom do the two young men in line 19 refer?
Absalom for Absalom and Matthew Kumalo for 1 mark.
Right. The next question is, what was meant by she would be hard to move in line 21?
Mr. Mang means that it will be difficult to get Mr. Mkhize to give him any details about Absalom and Matthew.
Right. Now let us move on to our open-ended question. So remember here you are allowed to say either yes or no. Stephen Kumalo is a brave man. Discuss your view. For a yes response, if you say yes, Stephen Kumalo is a brave man. He is brave because he decides to embark on a train journey to Johannesburg despite his age and vulnerability. Remember, he's an old man, but he goes on a journey to look for his son in Johannesburg. Mind you, he had never been to Johannesburg, but he did go. He wasn't afraid. That shows that he was brave. He confronts his brother John about his lifestyle, abandoning the church and living with another woman. He is unsuccessful in his search for Absalom, but he continues tirelessly until he finds him. Now, this is proof that Stephen Kumalo is brave. Now, let's look at a no response. If you say no, Stephen Kumalo is not brave, what are some of the points you would give there? You would say he is not brave because he does not want to open the letter which arrives and rather assigns this task to his wife. Remember, the wife also asked, said, "Are you afraid?" And he said, "No, I'm not afraid," but he was. He admits his fear of the unknown, among others, Gertrude's sickness and what he could discover about his son. He trembles with fear when he meets Jarvis and at Barbara Smith's house, as he does not expect to find him there. So those are the responses for a no response. If you are of the view that Stephen Kumalo is not a brave man. Right.
Remember, for you to get full marks, 3 full marks, your response must be grounded in the text of the novel Cry the Beloved Country. It should not be a general idea of him being afraid. You must give examples that are from the text. You can either get a 1 or 2 marks depending how strong your argument is.
Additionally, you can say both. Am I wrong? You can say yes and no.
Yes, that we call a combination.
Yes. So those responses, you will not be penalized if you say partially he is brave, but there are also instances in the story where he does not appear to be brave. Right, let us continue. Extract B.
Jarvis gives Stephen Kumalo a letter, and the rain made less noise on the roof. It was nearly over when Jarvis rose and came and stood in the aisle near Kumalo. Without looking at the old man, he said, "Is there mercy?" Kumalo took the letter from his wallet with trembling hands. His hands trembled partly because of the sorrow and partly because he was always so with this man. Jarvis took the letter and held it away from him so that the dull light fell on it. Then he put it back again in the envelope and returned it to Kumalo. I do not understand these matters, he said, but otherwise I understand completely.
Excellent B. I hear you, Umnumzan. Jarvis was silent for a while, looking towards the altar and the cross on the altar. When it comes to the 15th day, he said, I shall remember. Stay well, Umfundisi. But Kumalo did not say, go well. He did not offer to carry the saddle and the bridle, nor did he think to thank Jarvis for the milk. And least of all did he think to ask about the matter of the sticks. And when he rose and went out, Jarvis was gone. It was still raining, but lightly, and the valley was full of sound, of streams and rivers, and all red with the blood of the earth. Activity 3. Question 4.1.1. Here, we want you to choose a description from column B that matches the name in column A. You must write only the letter A to E next to the question number. So, give them.
In column A, we have Mrs. Kumalo, B. Johannes Pafuri, C. James Jarvis, D. Mrs. Ditebe. In column B, is forgiving towards Stephen Kumalo, is prepared to house Gertrude, is in need of a stove, is a ringleader of a robbery gang, is generous to the Indocheni community. This time, we give you just 1 minute to work out the answers. You are matching column B.
Remember, letters next to the number. Your 1 minute starts now. Good luck. Welcome back. Let us look at our solutions for activity 3.
Who is Mrs. Kumalo?
Is in need of a stove. The answer there is C.
And then Johannes Pafuri?
Johannes Pafuri is D. He's a ringleader of a robbery gang.
C. James Jarvis?
The answer there is A. He is forgiving towards Stephen Kumalo, or E. He is generous to the Ndocheni community.
Lastly, Mrs. Ditebe.
Mrs. Ditebe is prepared to house Gertrude. That's 4 marks.
I hope you all got the 4 marks.
Total.
Yes.
Moving right along, activity 4. Let us look at 1.2.1. State why the following statement is false. Absalom fired the gun because he was attacked. That's question 1.2.1. 1.2.2 refer to line 1. And the rain made less noise on the roof. A. Identify the figure of speech in this line. Number B. Explain why this figure of speech is relevant in this extract. 1.2.3. Refer to line 3. Without looking at the old man, he said, "Is there mercy?" Explain the irony in Jarvis' words. Is there mercy in line 3? You will get
3 minutes
to complete your activity 4. Your 3 minutes starts now. Welcome back, grade 12s. Let us look at our solutions for activity 4.
State why the following statement is false. Absalom fired the gun because he was attacked. The answer is Absalom fired the gun because he was afraid. He was not attacked, but he was just afraid. In 1.2.2, refer to line 1. And the rain made less noise on the roof. Identify the figure of speech used in this line. So the figure of speech is personification because the rain is given human qualities, where now it's making less noise on the roof. And normally who makes noise? A human being. But now the rain is being given human attributes.
Right, if you remember in our introductory paragraphs or introductory slides, we spoke about figures of speech. We said we look at personifications, metaphors, and similes. So here you are in luck. let us look at this figure of speech, personification. As it has been explained, a personification is when you give human qualities to non-living things, no non-living objects. Let's look at number B. Number B is explain why the figure of speech is relevant in this extract. What you need to remember, grade 12s, is that most of them figures of speech, they are used to compare one thing to another. If you remember that, you already have the 1 mark, I think.
Yes.
You will get it. So here, the second part of the question is, why is that comparison relevant? So there you look at, why are the two things that are being compared similar or different? So you look at similarities or differences. That is where you're going to get your second mark. So here, explain why this figure of speech is relevant. What is the figure of speech? The rain made less noise on the roof. So what are the two things that are being compared here? It is a person's voice and the intensity of the rain. There is your 1 mark. What is similar or what is different between the two things that are being compared? As a person becomes quieter, so does the rain or the downpour of the rain when it is diminishing. It is raining what? It's what? There's less rain. So when there's less rain, it sounds quieter. So as a person would sound. So remember, first, mention the two things that are being compared in the line and explain why are they being compared. Are they similar or are they different? What is similar or what is different between the two? And you will get your 2 marks. Relevance, always remember, why are the two relevant? Right. The next question, let us look at our irony question. Without looking at the old man in line 3, he said, is there mercy? This is James Jarvis asking Stephen Khumalo if there will be mercy for Absalom. Context, right? You need to remember context. What is happening here? Explain the irony in Jarvis' words. Is the mercy in line 3? What is an irony? What does irony mean? You need to remember these are questions you ask yourself in the examination before you even begin to answer the question. Do you remember what an irony is? When the opposite of what is expected happens. When the opposite of what is expected happens, or it is true. Without looking at the old man, he said, is the mercy? Again, who is talking here? James Jarvis talking to Khumalo with regards to Absalom. What do we expect? James Jarvis is the son of Arthur Jarvis. Arthur Jarvis was murdered by who? By Absalom. Who is Absalom? Absalom is Stephen Khumalo's son. So here you have James Jarvis concern. He shows concern for Absalom. Is he gonna get mercy? Do we expect the father of the man whose son was murdered by Absalom to be merciful towards his son's murderer? That's when we said when the opposite of what is expected happens. Let's look at our response here. It says, instead of being bitter about Arthur's murder, who is Arthur? Is James Jarvis' son. He is not bitter. He is concerned. Is that what we expect? The answer is no. That's when we say it is the opposite. We do not expect James Jarvis here to be concerned about Absalom being shown mercy. Yet he is concerned about Absalom's well-being. Yet Absalom is the one who murdered his son, Arthur. Why would the man show concern to the person who murdered his son? That is ironic. That is the irony. Now, both.
Now, I wanted to ask Gule,
Yes.
will I be able to get 1 mark for my explanation.
Well, unfortunately,
if I say he is not bitter about Arthur's murder.
unfortunately, we cannot give you 1 mark. You can only get 2 marks or 0. As I have said when I explained this in the beginning, you must mention both parts. Look at the note that says both parts must be included. What do we expect as the audience and what happens? So you must mention both parts in order to earn 2 marks. Unfortunately, there is no split here. You don't get 1. There are no half marks. Activity 5. Khumalo took the letter from his wallet with trembling hands. His hands trembled partly because of the sorrow and partly because he was always sore with this man. 1.2.4. Refer to lines 4 to 6. Khumalo took the with this man. The question is, what do these lines tell us about Khumalo's state of mind? Quick recap, we said state of mind is
about your feelings. You check the heart and the brain, the mind, the thinking.
The character's emotional state, what they are thinking. So what is Khumalo thinking here? Or how is he feeling? For 2 marks. Substantiate your answer. Give a reason for your answer. 1.2.5. One of the themes in Cry the Beloved Country is fear. For 3 marks, discuss this theme. Next question, 1.2.6. Refer to the novel as a whole. James Jarvis displays true human values. Discuss your view again for 3 marks. You will get
5 minutes to work out the answers.
Write the answers on your classwork books as you've been doing. Your 5 minutes starts now. Welcome back, grade 12. Let's look at our solutions for activity 1. 1.2.4. What do these lines tell us about Khumalo's state of mind? Substantiate your answer.
Khumalo is grief-stricken. He is emotionally, he is anguished as he struggles to reconcile fully with Jarvis because of Absalom's wrongdoing towards the Jarvis's family.
Right, the next question, 1.2.5. Discuss the theme of fear as it is relevant to our novel, Cry the Beloved Country. Now, among others, you can include these points. The theme of fear is relevant when Stephen Khumalo is fearful when he undertakes the first journey to Johannesburg. Tlhabeni, the taxi driver, shows his fear or anxiety in responding to Msimangu's inquiries about Absalom's whereabouts. Mrs. Mkhize visibly trembles with fear when questioned about Absalom's stay with her at some stage. Now note, you will not get a mark for a yes or no response. You must give, remember in these questions, you need to follow the peel.
Yes, you need to follow the peel method. You gave a point, you explain, and you give an example. You link back to the question.
Right. Your interpretation must be grounded in the novel. You must discuss fear with regards to in the novel Cry the Beloved Country. 1.2.6. James Jarvis displays true human values. Discuss your view. For a yes response, you can say, yes, James Jarvis tells Stephen Khumalo that he bears no grudge against him, even though Stephen Khumalo's son murders Arthur Jarvis, his son. The value you see here is forgiveness. He forgives. Bulletin number 2, he selflessly finances the building of the dam in his quest to improve the farming conditions of the Ndocheni community. Number 3, he generously donates to the boys club which Arthur establishes, which is another true human value that is shown by James Jarvis. Remember, there are others that you can give in that question. Let us look at a no response. James Jarvis is initially indifferent to the plight of the black people. He does not display compassion for the underprivileged to set an example for Arthur as a child. It is only after his son's death and after he had read Arthur's manuscripts that he becomes involved in the upliftment of black communities. But prior to that, he did not show true human values. Now,
And are you going to talk about the note?
note again, there will be no mark. There is no mark for yes and no. You can say yes or you can say no, or you can give a combination of answers where you say yes and no. But remember, very importantly, do not contradict yourself. If you are going to combine responses, then it has to be clear where you say yes and where you say no, and give reasons for a yes response and reasons for a no response. A contradiction will earn you a 0, like 1 or 2 or 3. Now, here is your homework. which comes from Book 2, Chapter 3. Answer the questions set in the extract below. James Jarvis is in mourning. He looked at the hundreds of books. Well, you can read that on your own. Here are the questions you are supposed to answer. One of the themes in Cry the Beloved Country is hope. Discuss this theme. You must give what evidence, again, from the novel that shows what? Hope. Identify characters that are hopeful. Remember, examples from the novel. Question number 2. One of the themes in Cry the Beloved Country is regret. Discuss this theme. There are one or two or maybe more characters in the novel that are regretful for what they have done or what they say. Their actions, remember we look at their actions, we also look at what they say. Refer to the novel as a whole. His circumstances influence John Khumalo's actions. So John's actions are influenced by his circumstances. Do you agree or do you disagree with that? Does he do what he do or what he does because of where he comes from? Is that the reason why he becomes the man that he becomes when he gets to Johannesburg? Discuss your view. Number 4, the title, Cry the Beloved Country, is suitable for this novel. Discuss your view. What does the title mean? Analyze what the title means and then look at the contents of the novel. Is there a link? Is there a relationship between what the title says and what ultimately happens in the novel? Let's look at our summary or our recap, our plot recap for our today's lesson. What have we studied in today's lesson? We looked at we studied Cry the Beloved Country through the lens of Stephen Khumalo's emotional journey to Johannesburg when he was looking for his son Absalom. His experiences, his emotions, and everything that he does, and the people, the relationships he makes with people like Reverend Msimang when he gets to Johannesburg. Our lesson focused on the challenges of urban life. Remember, we talked about the theme of what? Fear. We talked about crime and the moral dilemmas faced by characters in a divided society. Let's look at the list of characters that we discussed today. We looked at the character of Stephen Khumalo, a compassionate and determined priest seeking truth and reconciliation. We also looked at Mrs. Mkhize, who is fearful, was afraid, and reluctant to give Reverend Msimang information about Absalom and Matthew. We also explored the character of James Jarvis, a grieving father who evolves into a symbol of mercy and social responsibility. Contrast, right? Character of James Jarvis before and the character of James Jarvis after. The next character we explored is Theophilus Msimang, a perceptive and empathetic priest who supports Khumalo on his quest to Johannesburg. And we also looked at Absalom Khumalo, a very troubled young man whose actions drive the emotional core of the story. The next character is Matthew. Matthew Khumalo, a secondary figure whose presence adds complexity to Absalom's situation. Remember, our multiple choice was a ringleader. He is the one. Well, that is for you to discuss. We also analyzed the themes of fear, mercy, and reconciliation. And we also looked at literary devices such as your tone, how something is said, or how it sounds like. We looked at the mood, the atmosphere that you get when you are reading a story. Then we look at the dialogue, conversations between characters in a story. We look at contrast and imageries to understand characterization and emotional depth.
Learners, thank you for watching us this afternoon. Next week, on the 4th of August, we will be back here with short stories overview. As for last thought, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. This is a quote by Nelson Mandela. Today, you've journeyed through the powerful themes of Cry the Beloved Country, of fear, hope, justice, and reconciliation. Let these lessons inspire your own growth as a person. Keep asking questions to your teacher, to yourselves. Keep exploring ideas. Keep believing in your ability to make a difference. Most importantly, every page you read, every answer you write, and every discussion you join brings you closer to your goals.
Lastly, remember, you've got this. You are closer now than you were at the beginning. So keep going until the finish line.
Thank you for watching this lesson. See you next time. Goodbye.